Hi, everyone, and welcome to my presentation on the Technology Integrated Science Lesson Plan. Um, to start off, my class is the second hour science, seventh grade, which I have right here in my Google Classroom, which is the platform I will be using most of the time, unless I use Teams. But I really like this Google Classroom. The first thing I have here is what we're going to be doing. So the first thing is we're talking about chemical and physical properties of matter. And that's what subject I'll be teaching right away. And this kind of just gives them an overview of what we're doing. We're going to explore the different physical and chemical changes and some student actions here. They're going to analyze and interpret text, work in groups to share ideas, and demonstrate understanding of chemical and physical changes through a quiz. The other thing that I got in this lesson plan is to do individual demo or group demos after they get done talking in groups doing this. Analyzing and interpreting the text, they're going to go ahead and be able to do some physical and chemical changes and tell me what they are, which will help with their quiz. So, with that being said, we're going to go to our classwork and kind of show what we got going here. So, the first thing we're going to start with is this here, and this is two JPEGs of the reading. And that's just going to explore the physical and chemical properties of matter. We're going to do a mark text, so underlining the definitions, circling the bold or highlighting the bold words, and circling information they think is important. And that'll kind of help them with some comprehension and getting a feel for what we're doing. The next thing we would do is this guided notes page, which I did make an assignment for them to turn in worth about 10 points, I believe. This gives them, it's more of a participation that they do it. The cool thing that I do for them is I allow them to use notes on most quizzes and some tests. Um, and this quiz, I do let them use these notes here. The questions do not exactly go with these notes, but these notes give you a basic idea of what's going on and maybe help the students in answering questions. But I did make that an assignment so they can turn it in and get some points for that. After that, we would go into these videos here. So we're watching 4 minutes, which is this whole video, and then the states of matter, which we're only watching 3.5 minutes. Which these are on my YouTube channel. So students have two ways to get to my to these videos, either through my Google Classroom or through my YouTube channel that I share with them. So those would be things that we do. And then lastly, I have the quiz. Um, this time I did not make the quiz through the Google Forms like you can here in Google Classroom. I did mine through Formative, so it's external. You use an app, which I will show you. So this is um, my quiz right here. The cool thing about this is I can see students' answers in real time and be able to, move my teaching in the direction students need if they're not understanding a concept or whatever the case may be. So this is what students see. So here's what they see, and then as soon as they answer a question, just like these two, they turn blue up here in the corner. Um, But the cool thing about this as well is when I go here, I can see if I have, say, this is my second hour science class. If I had a third hour science class that was seventh grade, and I have Jane Doe over here, I can see what John is answering, and I can see what Jane's answering, and take the data from both classes and see if I am being effective teaching the concept. So that is that. Um, I do like this platform because uh, if students are gone or sick, they can still access this at home as long as they have their computer and internet access. They can still go on my Google Classroom and retrieve all the things they need. Um, Also, the cool thing about making this a turn in um, points assignment, these notes, they can basically save another JPEG with the writing on it, or if they were to print it off at home and write it and then rescan it or take a picture of it, they can turn it back in and it saves it in here. So if they lose that file, lose the paper, they can still access their notes, which I think is very important for my students. So the cool thing about technology in the classroom is that there's a growing body of research investigating the use of online assessments, which I use the formatives, or I also use the forms on here, um, and it's just saying, in some of this research that there's a dramatic reduction of people that drop out of courses in college because of the online format, which I think is starting to kind of bleed over into high school because more high schoolers are taking online courses through community colleges or some, 4-year universities. But I see that happening more and more. And that comes from our Chapter 8 reading on online assessments and hearing students think about science by Hess and Sutherland. Another cool thing that was in our first chapter was in the educational technology in the science classroom is, technology has transformed the way we see science. Um, think about in science our human genome and CRISPR and editing. That's all done by, machines and technology that somebody's had to come up with using science. So that's always cool. And lastly, in a article, titled "Technology and Student Learning Toward a Learner-Centered Teaching Model," which is what we're all trying to get to in teaching is more student-based, learner-based instead of teacher-based, letting students, inquirize about what's going on. So one of the cool quotes from it is, "Technology by itself cannot change the nature of the classroom instruction unless teachers are able to evaluate and integrate the use of technology into the curriculum." So for me, I'm having students learn how to access different information. Um, they're downloading files, they're editing files, they're seeing that kind of thing. Um, and we're using that in the classroom. We're using YouTube, which is an underrated tool, I think, in education, because there's so many good resources out there that maybe can explain a concept a little bit better than you can, or it's more graphical for those students who need to see it. So that's really awesome, and I've really enjoyed introducing technology into the classroom. So thank you guys for tuning in, and have a great rest of your day.